Hello and welcome to Mid-Coast Morning, CHY's current affairs show. I'm Laura McKenzie. The annual Fall GoByBike Week is about to kick off this weekend and will run from October 16th through October 29th. Nanaimo has been taking part in this event since 1997, when it was first called Bike to Work Week. Residents of Nanaimo are encouraged to register for the event and record all their kilometers ridden during the week to submit them for a chance to win bike-related prizes. These kilometers can be tracked whenever you use your bike, be it on your commute to school or work, while running errands by bike, trail riding, or just out for a casual ride. The City of Nanaimo states that getting around without a car is still the biggest way you can reduce your environmental impact and CO2 emissions, cycling being one of the several alternatives to driving in Nanaimo. A kickoff event for GoByBike Week will be held at Maffeo Sun Park on October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m., where there will be food, drinks, and prizes. Celebration stations will be set up throughout the week at various locations along bike routes and will be hosted by community sponsors. There will also be opportunities for fun, like Bike Tag, a mystery photo tag game on bicycles where the winner will receive a special prize. Returning again this fall to wrap up GoByBike Week will be the Bicycle Film Festival at Vancouver Island University's Malaspina Theatre on November 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. In the last few years, Nanaimo saw the completion of several pieces of bike lane infrastructure. The Metral Drive Corridor Project that saw the addition of new bike lanes that stretch from Aulds Road to Mostar Road. Another project in the last few years was the Front Street Bike Lane. Both projects were part of broader road and sewer improvements. Today, I speak with the City of Nanaimo's Manager of Transportation, Jamie Rose, about GoByBike Week and what the city is doing to encourage cycling in the city. Then I pop next door to our neighbors at Hub City Cycles Community Co-op to speak with Tyler Walker about gearing up and making sure you are ready to cycle safely. CHY reporter Mick Sweetman also has a chance to speak with City of Nanaimo Mayor Leonard Krogh about GoByBike Week and cycling in Nanaimo. Finally, some of us at CHY cycle to work on the regular. We chat about that to wrap things up. So with that, let's jump into it. Hi Jamie, welcome to Mid-Coast Morning. To start us off, could you tell me about GoByBike Week?
So GoByBike Week is a province-wide campaign to encourage people to travel to their daily needs basically by bike. So whether it's to work, to school, to the grocery store, coffee shops, or, for entertainment if they're going to the movies and such. It's been around for more than 2 decades now. It started as a bike to work week, but then sort of evolved into GoByBike because most communities realized that they really want to encourage people to not just bike to work, but as I said, bike to all of those other activities in their life. And so originally, Bike to Work Week, which became GoByBike, was a spring event to kind of gear people up and get them ready to get active during the summer. And it's over the last few years, it's progressed to have multiple events. So there's now a fall event, which we're getting ready for starting on the 16th. The city has a kickoff party at Maffeo Sun Park this Sunday from 3 to 5. And then through the week, we'll have some celebration stations. And then we'll be wrapping up with a film fest at VIU on the 9th. Between 6 and 9. And so, as I say, GoByBike is one of those opportunities to really let people know what's going on in the community, where they can bike to, how they can bike. Also, there's a little bit of education early in the year. It's getting your bike ready to get going, fix any flat tires, grease your chain. And then in the fall, it switches to how to, we include things about how to ride safely. Make sure you're wearing the right gear, reflective gear, wet weather gear, to make sure you stay comfortable, and really trying to sort of highlight to people that personal vehicle travel is not always absolutely necessary. And so if there is a chance, biking can be a fun and healthy way to get around. And I think it's kind of what most of us did growing up. And we didn't just do it because we had to. We did it because it was fun. And so we want to remind people about that and show them that there are ways to continue to do that.
And what are some of the benefits to biking to work or school?
Well, there's often the health benefits, but there's also typically some financial benefits. Car ownership is getting quite high, and the cost is getting quite high, that is. And so, if you can get a bike, then it's usually a lot more economical and more accessible. And if getting some exercise on your way to and from your destination always is good for you, and definitely has some environmental benefits. So there's a lot of benefits to either walking or biking, but obviously we're focusing on bikes right now. So.
And how would you say the city is encouraging residents to ride their bikes more?
So there's a couple of different sort of perspectives that the city can take with this. Obviously, we're with guidance from council, we're investing quite a bit in expanding our infrastructure. Between Metral Drive and a number of other projects, we are enhancing bikeability. And then with events like GoByBike, there's also a spring event called Commuter Challenge. We're kind of highlighting and outlining ways that people can get around our community without having to be car dependent. And so, those are really probably the two biggest ones, looking at our land use and making sure that the access to daily needs is within a reasonable distance for either walking or biking. Each of those sort of has a speed and time component to it that kind of give you a bit of an idea as to how far people can travel. Whether they're walking or biking, that makes it a reasonable distance. Another aspect that we're looking at right now is setting up end-of-trip facilities. So making sure that when people get to their destination, whether it's downtown or university or jobs or grocery stores, etc., there's actually a place for them to store their bike. So that's a task that we've got underway, and hopefully are going to start to expand and enhance over the coming years. One of the things on that sort of wavelength that we've been working on for the last 2 years is to set up bike valets for special events downtown. So a lot of our special events at Matteo Sutton Park have had an ability for people to actually check their bike as if they were valet parking their car. And so it can give some peace of mind knowing that you've got a safe and secure place to leave your bike while you attend an event. The night market also had that all summer long. And so the reports we've gotten back from that are that it was quite well utilized. So there's really a spectrum of things that we can do to help encourage people to get out and ride more. We also work with the school district through what we call the Active School Travel Program, which basically we go and work with different schools to highlight opportunities to encourage kids to continue to ride their bikes to and from school and not sort of become dependent on taking a personal vehicle. So yeah, there is quite a spectrum of things that we touch on to try and highlight to people all of the opportunities they have to walk and bike and even take transit.
And do you have any safety tips for someone who might be hitting the road for the first time on their bike?
Definitely. So obviously wear all of your protective equipment, helmet, reflective gear. The more you can be seen, the more conspicuous you are, the safer you'll be. Make sure and communicate. Use eye contact, use hand gestures, use your hand signals for indicating whether you're turning left, right, or stopping, and be defensive. As days get darker, it does get harder for everybody to see each other. And it's always best to stop and make sure that other cyclists and other motorists do see you and you see them. So it's those are probably some of the bigger tips that we can provide. I mean, obviously, there's more things towards being comfortable with wearing the right rain gear and having a good end-of-trip facility to get changed in. But from a safety perspective, it is 100% you need to be seen and you need to see what's going on. So everything you can do on that to do that is critical.
Okay, and where can people learn more about GoByBike Week?
There is both the GoByBike Week website that the province hosts, and we also have a link through our nanaimo.ca website through the transportation page. Okay,
great. Thank you for joining me on Mid-Coast Morning.
Not a problem.
That was Jamie Rose from the City of Nanaimo talking about GoByBike Week. Next, I hop over to speak with Tyler Walker from Hub City Cycles Community Co-op to talk about getting your bike ready for the fall. Okay, my first question for you, what is your name and title?
My name is Tyler Walker, and I'm a bicycle mechanic at Hub City Cycles.
And how long have you been working with bikes?
I've been working with bikes my entire life.
And what does Hub City Cycles do?
We recycle bikes. We keep them out of the landfill. We provide an accessible way for folks who are low income to come and get repairs or buy used parts. And we also educate people by doing workshops and courses throughout the year.
So recently, a couple new bike lane projects have finished up within Nanaimo. Have you seen an increase of people bringing their bikes down and biking more around Nanaimo?
Our shop has been really, really busy for the last couple of years. There's been a huge uptick in the number of electric bikes on the streets and lots of commuters.
And have you seen an increase of parents bringing down their kids to get their bikes tuned up?
We definitely have a number of bikes in for repair that are multi-person vehicles, so they have got storage for kids on the back. So we have been seeing those come in the shop for sure.
And what are some of the best ways bikers can stay safe on the road?
Be visible, be aware of what's around you, wear bright colors. Keep your eyes on a 360 basically, and just know who's coming up behind you and stay safe.
And what's the best way somebody can care for their bike?
Take one of our courses, find out what the ABCs are of bike repair, keeping your chain lubricated, checking your brake pads, making sure your tires are properly inflated, that kind of thing.
What is a way that the City of Nanaimo can make it safer or more enjoyable for Nanaimo residents to bike?
They could have one day a year where the whole city is car free. That'd be pretty sweet.
Do you have any other comments just about biking in Nanaimo, bike safety?
Nanaimo's a great city to ride in, mountain biking and road riding and commuting and all those things. And we hope to see more people.
Okay, sweet. Thank you for joining me on Midcoast Morning.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Midcoast Morning is made possible by the Community Radio Fund of Canada's Radio Meters program and listeners like you. Support Midcoast Morning and CHOI's nonprofit newsroom today by becoming a sustaining donor at choi.ca/donate. Local news can't survive without your support. Finally, if you're listening to the podcast edition of Midcoast Morning, go and give us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast feed you use. It helps people find us.
Now here's an interview with CHY's news reporter Mick Sweetman and Nanaimo Mayor Leonard Krogh about GoByBike Week and getting more people cycling.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mayor. Can you tell us a bit about the GoByBike?
GoByBike Week is an annual event here in the city. The whole point is to encourage people to ride their bicycles and save on fuel, reduce emissions, attend the events. We have a number of events set up.
Are you planning to commute by bike that week?
Probably not, and I'm not going to be cute about this. The reality is I'm 70 years old. I have a 3-speed bicycle that I ride very, very, very rarely, and the nature of my job is such that I'm not going to a desk and sitting at City Hall and then riding home at the end of a happy work day. I am often out and about and all over the city. So no, It would be a lovely concept, and I appreciate it. And there are many people who have a constant workplace, and they're there, and they can come home, and that's good. And we want to encourage them to do that. But realistically, as the mayor of the City of Nanaimo, not terribly realistic for me to ride a bicycle to work.
Right, and I think another thing we should talk about is it's not just people if they're willing to or not willing to ride a bike. It's the infrastructure that the city has and the way it's been designed for many, many years. Yeah. So I guess what are the barriers right now in terms of infrastructure to people doing more active transportation?
Well, I think one of the barriers that I see, and I have raised this, and I know that staff are looking at it, is the lack of safe storage, if you will, at the end of the route. In other words, if you're cycling to work downtown, is there a safe, secure place where you can store your bike without it being stolen? In terms of the infrastructure, I mean, I get varying opinions, just as you get varying opinions about all kinds of subjects. Some people say we have more than enough bike lanes, and if people learn to use the routes that are there, it's sufficient. Now, that's on one extreme. Others say we don't have nearly enough anywhere, and they're inadequate, et cetera, et cetera. I suspect we're somewhere in between. We have a number of established bike lanes that are safe routes. We're working on expanding that route. Those routes, I should say. But as I say, one of the complaints that I do hear that I think is extremely important to consider is the lack of storage at the end of the trail, if you will.
Yeah, what is the city doing to address that?
That's with staff as we speak. It's been raised. We have an active transportation plan. We, as everyone knows, the city plan that was approved by council, a massive document incorporating parks and recreation, transportation, all of our community plans in one document, which saw participation from more people than we've ever seen before in the history of the city. A very positive document. But again, these things take time to implement. And as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
So I guess like maybe just on the infrastructure things, I know when the city puts in bike lanes, they're doing it in conjunction with other major road work, right?
Quite often.
And obviously this is to help keep the cost down. But it's kind of the result of that is you do kind of have these patches of bike lanes that like start and then stop. So people look at that and it doesn't really make sense to them.
And I understand that concern, but we have lots of patches of sidewalks in the city too. I think to lay a sidewalk now is, in terms of a meter, is into the several $1,000s. That is the nature of a city that is 22 kilometers long, roughly 2.5 kilometers wide at various places and points, with 104,000 citizens. People say, why can't we be like Amsterdam? Well, we're spread over 91.3 square kilometers. Amsterdam, I think, is 209 square kilometers. They have 975,000 people. It's a lot easier to have and build and maintain that infrastructure. We are catching up. Many people will say, why the hell are you building bike lanes when I don't have a sidewalk in front of my house? Well, it's because when the municipality expanded back in the mid-70s, you incorporated a whole bunch of areas that had no sidewalks or very inadequate infrastructure, and it takes a long time to fill that in. We've already heard the concerns expressed about the tax increase this year and the previous year and what we're looking at next year. These things take time. I'm satisfied that what we're doing is a sensible approach, but it doesn't meet with general public approval, I must tell you. I mean, Metral Drive won us a provincial, a national, and an international award. I drive on Metral Drive just for the sheer pleasure of it when I have to go to the north end of town. Separated bike lanes and sidewalks, it's a fabulous street, but there are people who complain constantly, including, many people I know, about, the road's too narrow, although the road meets all the standards, and nobody's ever on the bike lanes, or I never use it, or why are you spending the money on it? But the fact is, that was such an excellent project. As I say, it won three awards. There is not general consensus around bike lanes in our community, but whereas there is significant consensus around sidewalks, but we can't do it all.
What I've seen, I just saw this this year in Departure Bay, is like sidewalks were put in on Departure Bay Road, as were bike lanes at the same time. Is that the direction of the city's?
Well, look, we're doing it as best we can, where we can, within reason. And as you pointed out, we've often done it in conjunction with larger construction projects. I mean, it's good sense and it's a good use of taxpayers' dollars. When you're doing improvements to the road and or the infrastructure under it, water, sewer lines, etc., is to put the kind of bike lane sidewalk infrastructure on top. That's the way to do it. But as I say, we have too much geography and too few people in order to pay for the kind of high quality, if you will, readily accessible bike lanes and sidewalks that exist in much more compact urban areas.
Is there an area that the city is concentrating on in terms of building more active transportation?
Well, as you know, I mean, we're finishing basically the route that'll take you from downtown to Vancouver Island University. That's a prime route. And the other reality is you can essentially bike from the north end of Nanaimo now to all the way to downtown on the in-end trail. That's a major and important bit of infrastructure that's been in place for a while and is getting more and more utilized as time goes on.
Right. Getting back to the GoByBike, what would you say to somebody who, they want to participate in GoByBike, but they're just a little on the fence? You know what?
Go to the website, read the press release. You've got a number of welcome stations. Heck, we're even going to give you a prize of a brand new e-bike from Pedigo electric bike. There's a bike tag, there's a mystery photo tag game, there's lots of other prizes as well. So go to www.gobybikebc.ca/Nanaimo.
Okay, thank you so much.
For all the modern people, unlike me, who's a bit of a Luddite.
So down here at CHOI, quite a few of my coworkers will ride their bikes down to work. So I'm just going to talk to them about what it's like riding their bikes in Nanaimo. So Jesse, how do you get to work almost every day?
Basically by my bike. I ride from my place over on Stewart down the waterfront walkway through the Queen Elizabeth Promenade, through Maffeo Sutton Park's parking lot, and then up onto the Front Street bike lane where eventually I turn off into downtown Nanaimo to make my way into the station here in the basement of the Queens.
And would you say you feel safe pretty much most of the time that you're riding your bike here?
Yeah, so with my particular bike route, I'm very much away from vehicles, and with the new Front Street infrastructure, like I don't really have to deal with cars at all. And then when I finally turn down onto commercial, it's 30 kilometers an hour in there. And as a cyclist, I'm able to maintain that speed, and most people are pretty chill in there anyways. So yeah, no, I feel safe.
And Arby, how do you get to work most days?
Either my bike or bus.
And what's your route like getting to work here?
I live right by Barsby, so usually I come down 4th, although 4th is blocked off right now. So there's several different ways to get here, depending on how I want to get here.
And do you feel safe most of the time when you're riding your bike?
Sure, depending on which route I go, there's a fair bit of bike lane. But yeah, it can be a little bit tricky coming down Victoria.
And Jesse, why do you cycle to work almost every day?
For me, largely because it's cheap. I don't drive, because it costs a lot of money. I've been cycling since my university days, if not longer, and it's just always been a very affordable way to get around. And I just never bothered getting a car when I was in university. And with my life as it is now and where I live and where I work, it just makes a lot of sense. It would make less sense to have a car to drive to work and find parking and all that. And day in and day out, I'm able to get to work and run all my errands on my bike. And in the rare occasion I do need a car, we have a rideshare account through work, and so I can use that with Moto.
And Arby, why do you bike to work sometimes?
I too do not have a car at this time. I do drive. I drove for a living for a long time, but it is much more convenient. There isn't a lot of parking around here, and that would be a hassle. And it's not that far to go. I tend to go on the bus when the weather sucks, because I'm a fair weather biker, but other than that, it's cost as much as anything.
Okay, and how do you think that the City of Nanaimo can make it easier for you to ride your bike more in Nanaimo?
So the city can improve bike infrastructure and cycling and people riding everywhere, basically just by building it and building a safe infrastructure that's protected. And so, they can kind of more or less keep on doing what they're doing and maybe do some more. I know that if we built roads in the same manner that we built cycling infrastructure, 95% of us wouldn't be driving everywhere as we do today. You have to build systems that link together, that are safe, and the more that you do that, the more you see an increase in cycling. And you can see this happening down in Victoria and around the world where people actually put the effort in.
And Arby, do you also agree with Jesse that there is better biking infrastructure, there'd be more people biking in their day-to-day life?
Yes, and what Jesse means by safe is separated. We need separated bike lanes from traffic. It is okay the way it is to some degree. You still have to worry about people pulling out on you and stuff like that, because it can be on your right as well as on your left.
And sort of for my last question, do you guys feel safe parking your bikes downtown, or do you think there needs to be sort of better parking for bikes?
Safe, secure bike lockups would be brilliant, and I think that's definitely something the city should pursue. But, when I have my bike at work, we bring our bikes into the station, but when I'm out at the grocery store, say over at Thrifty Foods, I lock up with a U-lock, and I lock up through my frame to the bike rack. And I haven't really ever been particularly concerned about theft. I never leave my bike out at night. That's definitely creating opportunities for bike theft. And, when you're locking your bike up, it's all about just diminishing chances for crimes of opportunity. There's always going to be some remote risk of theft with somebody coming along with an angle grinder, but I haven't seen an angle grinder used in broad daylight yet, so, I think the risk is pretty low.
And Arby?
Well, my electric bike, I always take the battery off and bring it in with me because I don't want to, that's a fair bit of money for one, and it's an easy item to swipe. I locked mine up. I am a little more worried about that than Jesse is apparently, depending on where I have to go. There has to be a place, first of all, there has to be a place to lock it to, and there's not a lot everywhere.
Thank you for speaking to me about biking in Nanaimo. That's our story for the day. Thank you to Jamie Rose and Tyler Walker for joining me today. And thank you to Mick Sweetman for sharing with us his interview with Mayor Leonard Krogh. Learn more about Go By Bike Week and register to participate at gobybikeweekbc.ca/Nanaimo. And if your bike is in need of repair or you're just looking for a new one, check out Hub City Cycles Co-op at 12 Lois Lane in downtown Nanaimo. I'm Laura McKenzie, host and producer at Midcoast Morning. Jesse Woodward is our executive producer and Aubrey Frew is our technical advisor. You can sign up for CHOY's newsletter at choi.ca/subscribe for updates from our news department and more. Our theme song is First One by local Nanaimo band Waste Management. You can find more of their music on their Bandcamp. Support local artists by buying their music. If you have a story you'd like us to cover, email us at news@choi.ca.
Midcoast Morning would not be possible without the funding of the Community Radio Fund of Canada's Radio Meters program and listeners like you. Midcoast Morning is a project of CHOI's nonprofit newsroom. Support nonprofit journalism in Nanaimo and on the Salish Sea today by becoming a monthly sustaining donor at $5 or more per month. Support the program at choi.ca/donate. If you're already a supporter, record a voice memo telling others where you're listening from and why they too should support our work. After you're done, you can email it to us. Also, share the podcast with your friends. While Meta is blocking Canadian users from sharing news content on their Facebook feeds, you can still share our podcast directly with your friends via Facebook or Instagram Messenger. Finally, this program acknowledges and gives thanks to the Snuneymuxw First Nation as we broadcast and podcast from their traditional territory. Thanks for listening. That's the sound of my sick bell.